Hello students. Today we learn how to change active voice sentences beginning with let into passive voice. So under this category we'll study and analyze three structures and we'll see how all those are different in active voice and how they can be changed into passive. So to begin with, let's pick up structure number 1 over here, and the active voice structure of category 1 is let is followed by object. The sentence active voice begins with let, it is followed by object is followed by verb, and then if there is any adverb we put up after the main verb, otherwise we put full stop and sentence is complete. Now when this structure is changed into passive voice, so the passive sentence begins with let itself and it is followed by object. So we can see that the first two steps in active and passive, they are just same. Change takes place into third place. In active voice, object is followed by verb, but in passive voice, object is followed by be. And after be, we put up third form of the verb, and if there is any adverb in the active voice, it continues to follow the third form of the verb, otherwise we put full stop and our passive is over. So this is how we can change the structure of type 1 into passive voice. Now we'll see the sentences and we'll try to change them as per the structures over here. So our first sentence of first category is let the bird fly away. So first let's analyze this sentence. Active voice begins with let, it is followed by object, the bird over here, and object is followed by verb fly, and we have adverb also, that is away in this case. So let's now change this active into passive. So passive also begins with let. So let the bird, we know that first two steps are the same in active and passive. So let's let the bird, and then object is followed by be, and be is followed by third form of the verb, which is flown, fly, flew, flown, and adverb. Then we put a full stop. So active sentence let the bird fly away in passive becomes let the bird be flown away. Now let's see the second sentence and we'll change it. Let the water flow. So we have let, then object, the water, and verb flow. This time we do not have any adverb. So the sentence will be let the water. We know the first two steps are to be repeated. Let the water, and then object is to be followed by be, and then third form of the verb is flow, so flow becomes flowed over here, and full stop. So let the water flow in passive becomes let the water be flowed. So this was category number 1, structure number 1. Moving to next, we'll see the structure of second type. In second type of the structure, active voice structure is the sentence begins with let, just like the previous one. Now over here changes will happen. Let is followed by indirect object is followed by verb, and then comes direct object. When this we change into passive, it becomes passive begins with let, just like our structure number 1. Now let is followed by direct object. This is where the change happens. Direct object is to be brought forward and is to be put up just after let. After direct object we'll put up be, and be is followed by third form of the verb. So whatever the first form or second form of the verb is there in the active voice need to be changed into third form. Then it will be followed by preposition, and preposition will be followed by indirect object. So over here this indirect object will come and place itself after preposition. This is how we need to change this type of the structures. Now let's see the examples. So sentence in this category we have, let me do this work. So let's first analyze. Sentence begins with let. Let is followed by me, which is indirect object. Actually, what is the difference between direct and indirect object? If you want to know in detail, you need to watch my previous videos. I have just clear cut mentioned over there the difference and how to find out also. So everything is mentioned in previous videos. If any confusion, go all over again and watch them and learn. So let is followed by indirect object. Indirect object is followed by the verb do, and then we have direct object. So let's change this into passive voice. Passive voice again will begin with let, and then let is to be followed by direct object. So in this sentence we have this work as our direct object. So let this work, and direct object should be followed by be, and be should be followed by third form of the verb, and in this sentence we have do as main verb. So if changed into third form becomes done. So let this work be done, and preposition by and me. Then we put up indirect object. Actually in such type of the cases, by plus agent is optional. If you want to mention it, it's okay. Otherwise you can put up full stop just after the third form of the verb and your sentence will be okay. Yes, there are certain cases we cannot drop by plus agent, otherwise sense won't be very clear. A little bit confusion remains over there. So that's why I have put this one into bracket. The reason being, if we say let this work be done, the sense is clear. Now moving to next sentence, we see the second sentence of the second category is let her sing a song. So let's make it into passive now. You can make along with me. Let, and then direct object. So a song, let a song be sung by, and then her, and full stop. So the sentence let her sing a song into passive becomes let a song be sung by her. So this is how the structures of second category we can change into passive voice. Moving to next is the third structure of this type of the sentences, and over here we find a lot of changes when the active is changed into passive. So you need to just learn it very carefully, otherwise a little mistake and your passive will be wrong. So active voice structure is the sentence begins with let, like all other three sentences, but unlike first and second category, over here let is followed by us, and this is a standard format, standard structure. Let, in this type of the sentences, let is always followed by us. Us is followed by first form of the verb, and then if we have object we put it up, otherwise we put full stop. That's why object is put into brackets. When we change this active structure into passive, so passive voice begins with it is suggested or it is proposed. This is where major change goes in. In place of let, we have to start with it is, and you have to make a choice between suggested or proposed. Either you say it is suggested or you say it is proposed. Then that will come after proposed or suggested. That is followed by we, because in active voice we have us, and us is objective case. When we change the sentence into passive voice, we have to change objective case of us into subjective case, and that becomes we. We is to be followed by should, and after should we have to put up first form of the verb. Whatever the verb it is there in active voice, it should come after should. And if there is object in active voice, verb is followed by object, otherwise we put a full stop. So this is a little bit ticklish. If we compare to first and second category, this structure is a little bit ticklish. You have to just memorize all the steps very carefully. Now let's see the examples. Sentence of this category we have, let us sing. So as we know, we have to begin our passive with it is suggested or it is proposed. So let's write it down. It's suggested, then suggested and proposed are followed by that. That is followed by we. Now we'll change us into we. We, it is suggested that we, and we need to be followed by should. So that we should, and first form of the verb, that is sing. So let us sing into passive becomes it's suggested that we should sing, or we can say it's proposed that we should sing. In active, sentence is very small, but in passive it becomes very long. So this is how we have to change this type of the sentences into passive. Now let's move to the next sentence and try to change it into passive. Let us watch Ramayana. So as we are told, we have to follow the structure to the point. So we'll start. It is proposed, and then we use that. It is proposed that. Now we'll change us into we. We need to be followed by should, and then first form of the verb. So over here the verb is watch, and watch what? We have object also. So here we will write Ramayana, and we put full stop over here. By the way, in English we write down Ramayana also, but why to just distort the word when it gives clear meaning and clear sense over here. So let us watch Ramayana. In passive it becomes it is proposed. In place of proposed you can use suggested, as I told you in the beginning of this category. It is proposed or it is suggested that we should watch Ramayana. So this is how, students, we can write down and we can change active voice into passive voice. Now let's move to the next part of this category, and next part, as usual, it is very much important. It is do it yourself. So we have learned how to change three structures of active voice into passive voice which have let in it. So hope that you have got all the three formulas very well. Now if any doubt, go all over again and start watching video from the very beginning. Take down your own notes and practice with these three sentences, and try to make more sentences of this type and make them into passive, so that you can gain confidence and when exams are there, you can crack them easily, you can fix the problem easily. So that's all for now. Bye bye, take care.